Hello everybody and welcome back to another CB Showtunes tutorial. Now today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be developing a FPS zombie game. Now I'm going to be trying to make these short videos, that way it's easy to follow along, easy to be able to maintain, and also easy to create. We're also going to be using a couple assets from the asset store, that way everybody can follow along and they won't have to deal with a lot of the hard stuff. So the first thing we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to be getting the character controller set up. So for this, we're going to go over to the asset store. You're going to search for standard assets. And what you're going to do is you're going to find this one right here, just a normal free version, and we're going to import this. Now, we don't need everything here. We really just need the character controllers, a couple of the utility files, and the what is it? Oh, we'll probably go for prototyping and the environmental as well, just for the heck of it. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and wait for this thing to speed up. Alright, so what we need to do first, since we got this import right here, we're going to deselect the sample scene. We really don't need that. Inside here, we're going to deselect the 2D folder. We'll keep the camera folder. We'll keep the character folder. We really don't need the cross-platform inputs, I don't believe, so we're going to just take that out. We'll also take out the editor. Well, actually, no, we'll keep the editor in. You know what? We'll go and keep the cross-platform just because. We'll take out the effects. We don't need those. The environment, we'll keep that. Take out the fonts. Let's take out the particle systems. And the physics, yeah, we'll go and take them out. I mean, those would be useful in certain situations, but yeah. Okay, let's see. One more thing inside here. Gotta find this, because there's always one script inside of here that messes up, and I hate having to keep on deleting it. You know what, we'll just take it all and then delete it later. Okay, well, we're also going to deselect the vehicles. So these are the only folders that you're going to want to import. Camera, character, cross-platform input, editor, environment, prototyping, and utility. So we're going to go import those suckers. Okay, so now since we have that imported, you're going to notice the little console error right here. So the simple activator menu, we need to delete that because it's wanting us to use the UI.text instead of GUI text, and we're really not going to use this inside here anyway, so we might as well just get rid of it. So simple activator menu. So go over into your standard assets. You're going to find the input or utility folders. Let's see, simple activator menu. Yes. Okay. So we're going to hit delete that sucker, and the error should go away. All right. So now we're perfect. Let's go back over into our scene view. And for this, we need to find, or to create a character at least, we need to find the character folder. Once it goes over there. Okay. So we're going to select the character folder. We're going to, you know, we don't need the roller ball. We're going to delete that. And we technically also don't need the third person character, but I'm going to keep that around just in case I want to use it later. So I'm going to double click the first person character. And we need to find the prefabs. Normally you'd think we'd go with a rigid body FPS controller. Personally, I don't like that. I actually like this normal FPS controller. So I'm going to drag that inside here. We're going to go ahead and delete the main camera. We don't need that. Make sure that the position of this is at 0. Let's focus in on it by pressing F. Okay, so we have our character controller here. We're going to raise him up a little bit. What is his height? Anyway, 1.8. Yeah, that should work. Yeah. Okay, so here we need to add in another camera. So as you can see, we have our first person camera right here. And we want to be able to have another camera that just renders our weapon. And if you're using like a character with hands, you'd want it to render your hands as well. So how we do this is we need to create a new layer. Now I already created this layer, but to create this layer, you need to go to Add Layer over here next to the layer default. Good, Add Layer. And then find an empty layer and just name it Weapon. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to come over here to the FPS controller, and we're going to simply select the first person character, which is our camera inside of this FPS controller. You're going to right click, you're going to go over to camera and select it. Now we're going to call this the depth camera. Now depth is very important when it comes down to rendering objects. You want to be able to render this camera first, so we're going to change this depth to 1. The next thing we need to do, go over to Culling Mask. We're going to change this to nothing first, and then weapon as our primary. We're going to go over to Clear Flags and set this to depth only. We can adjust this as well with the field of view. That's totally up to you. First person character camera, we need to make sure that we select everything and then deselect weapon, because we don't want to render the weapon. Now here's the reason why. So I'm going to right click on our first person character. We're going to create a cube. Let's just say a cube right here. Okay, let's just drag this here. Let's scale it down a bit. That way it's easy to see. So this would be our weapon right here, right? And I'm going to just drag this to the side. Okay, yeah, that works. So here's our weapon, right? On our default layer, we have, or since this is on our default layer, it's going to be rendered by our first person character camera. But we want it to be rendered by our depth camera. And as you can see, the camera's not seeing anything. So if I select our cube, we're going to change it to our weapons layer. Now if I select our depth camera, you can notice it is on the depth camera view. Now the reason why we have this here is because, say for instance, I add another cube into the scene. So we're going to just add a cube. Now I'm going to put this cube right in front of our character, right? So right about here. Now if you notice, I moved this cube right over the weapon and I could still see it. And that's because it is part of the depth camera and it's only being rendered by that camera. Well, if I select this original cube, our weapon, and change this layer to default, it clips. So this is one of the main reasons why it's really useful. Also, we can change our depth and be able to adjust that view with our weapon only instead of having to worry about anything else. Okay, so we now have our character set up. Let's go ahead and create a plane that we can move our character around on. So I'm going to reset that. We're going to multiply that by 5 and 5. And we need to go over to project settings, go over to our physics, and I'm going to change the gravity to a -16. Normally this starts at about -9. It's up to you on what you want it to be. Alright, so we're going to go back over to our scene view. Go ahead and drag this back over here. Select our FPS controller and make some minor adjustments. So we have, of course, our jump speed. We probably would like to increase that. Yeah, I think that'll be good. Go ahead and keep everything else like that for now. And I'm going to hit play. So here we go. Alright, so as you can see, we can move around. You'll see a little air at the bottom. The footsteps are super loud as well. But yeah, everything's working. Let's go ahead and fix this error. So you only need one audio listener. So we're going to remove this audio listener. Just that. Alright, perfect. So now we only have one audio listener. The next thing we need to do is we need to adjust that volume. So we're going to roll down here to where you find the audio source on the FPS controller, and we're going to drop that down to a 0.05. Perfect. Let's go ahead and increase the walk speed. We're going to put that at 8. Run speed, let's do 16. Okay, so now we're going to hit play. And this should be perfect. Awesome. So now we have a character capable of walking around inside the environment, able to hop, and look around. Inside the next video, we'll be covering the weapon itself, so look forward to posting about that. But I hope this tutorial helped you guys out. If it did, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, check out some other videos, and if you have a question, make sure to leave those inside the comment section below, and I'll be happy to get to you as soon as possible. Alright, I'll see you guys later.